where we believe that anyone can be a millionaire in all six aspects of health. We share tips to improve your physical, mental, intellectual, spiritual, and financial health. Now, today our topic is social health, and it's one of my favorite topics in social health, networking. We've got some phenomenal guests lined up for you to discuss a little bit. And look, I mean, our whole principle of the show is that everyone you meet knows something that you don't. There's something that'll be learned from everybody out there. In the spirit of authenticity, we don't talk about tips or advice before the show starts. We just keep it real, no bias, no persuasion, just a couple awesome people here sharing their life journey. I don't really know any of these guests, so let's jump in. Our first guest today is Kam Knight. Kam, how's it going today?
It's going awesome. Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Good, good. I know you've been on the show a couple times, but for those who haven't seen you on the show before, tell us, who are you?
All right, sure. So my name is Kam Knight. I am a coach, international speaker, and author of a dozen books, many of which you see behind me, in the area of mental, physical, and emotional performance. And now I talk about a concept called internal resistance, which answers a question I had my whole life, and that is, why is it if I want to do something, I know what to do, I know how to do it, and I have the motivation and desire to do it, but for one reason or another, I can't or don't do it. And so that's really the path I'm on now.
Awesome, man. Well, look, if you could give us one teensy little tip in regards to social health and networking as an international speaker, I mean, you're obviously an expert there. What would that
Yeah.
tip be?
Yeah. So before I was a speaker, I was an author. And for a good part of my author career, I had a good life. I wrote books, Amazon sold them, dropped royalties into my account, and I didn't have to worry about much else. I didn't have to have fancy websites, funnels, email sequences, and more importantly, I didn't have to network. But then when ChatGPT came out, I had an existential crisis because what took me nearly 15 years to develop as a skill as a writer, I saw it doing like that. So I decided it was time to move out of the digital world and into the real world. And one of the ways I did that was to network. And I want to say I made a lot of mistakes. One of the mistakes I made was I was always trying to sell and convert right on the spot. And that is one of the worst mistakes a person can make. Really, networking is about relationships, and relationships are built over time. And so instead of coming in from a very scarcity mindset, telling people what you do and how great you are, and this is what they must buy from you on the spot, it's really about meeting people, getting to know them, developing a relationship, getting their contact, and following up on them on a regular basis. And then at a certain point, they become familiar with you, and then they're a lot more open to the offers that you have. And so the tip I would give is really think about building relationships and playing the long game. It doesn't have to be unnecessarily long, but think about 3 to 4 moves and steps ahead versus just that one thing that is in front of you right now.
Chestnut checkers, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, and I think your story really like reflects a lot of what people are looking at with AI becoming so big and looking at replacing so many jobs. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there with existential crisis just like you, Cam.
Yeah, yeah. So this is one of the ways
Like you said,
to, I was going to
took
say,
you
this is one of
15
the ways
years
to,
to earn it, and then overnight, you know.
yeah. And this is a way to pivot, is to get out into the real world and start building relationships, because that's going to be the most important asset that we have right now with AI coming into the forefront.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, thanks for the great tip. We'll bring you back on for the round robin here to discuss a little bit more. I want to bring our next guest on, though, Armando Roman. Welcome to the show, Armando.
Hey, what's going on? Thank you for having me, Josh.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So, for our audience and everything, tell them a little bit about who Armando is.
Sure. So I would say I'm a son of God. I'm a father, entrepreneur. I failed. I've succeeded. I've grown. I've matured. So I do real estate. I flip properties, new builds, development, and I also speak as well. And I have a brokerage,
Nice,
most importantly. Yes, sir.
great. Yeah, cool. So, in regards to social health then and networking, what would, if you could just give one teensy little tip, what would you give to our audience?
Yeah, I like to have genuine connections with people, and not always it's about me or my agenda, kind of what the other speaker was mentioning. And I like to be able to kind of organically grow. And I something very simple that a lot of people just don't take the time to do or just simply have no interest in doing. And I have a lot of interest is complimenting people generally, finding something that I like about them, whether it's their personality, what they do for work, how they carry themselves. Just a quick compliment goes a long way, and always adding value. I feel like a lot of people are always trying to take away instead of providing value and being a resource for others. And I think it comes full circle once you're put yourself out there and you're helping people and reaching out and providing value. Like I said, I have a real estate company where I have close to 40 realtors that work under me and my partner and I. And the biggest thing is adding value, helping them grow their careers, and they become successful. We get to benefit from that success as well. So it's a relationship business for sure.
Yeah, giver's gain, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, was it just in the real estate business that you learned that, or like where on your life journey did you really buy in and get the most benefit out of this tip you're talking about of giving a compliment?
I would say a lot of people along the way have shown me grace, and when they didn't benefit anything out of helping me, have stepped in my life and helped me. I have a couple of good examples. My current business partner, Noah Kirksey, I was going through a very difficult time. I had failed in a few businesses. I had at the time a home improvement business, and he said, "Hey Armando, I see a lot of good qualities in you. You know, it's easy to buy a good horse, but it's not always easy to get a good jockey. And I see a lot of potential in you, and I believe in you." He was a friend, college. Also, we went to college together at UMass Amherst. So he kind of showed me the ropes on real estate investing and buying multifamily houses, fixing them, rehabbing them and refinancing them. And that led into flipping, got my license, and three people that have been key in my life. Even my current business partner, Carl, him and I, we connected, and I saw his vision. I had a vision. We brought it together. So God always finds a way to bring alignment and bring genuine good people in my life. And I've seen that, and over the years, I've improved myself. So a lot of people they want to help others, but you constantly also have to improve yourself and just be a better human, be a better role model, be a better father, be a better brother, be a better friend. And I think when you focus on these things, the rest kind of comes naturally.
Well, at that note, then I want to go ahead and bring Cam back out, and while he's
Sure.
coming back on, I really want to mention like where your story most hit me was it was actually a compliment you received that got you where you are by this business partner that you have now, and I think to your point, a compliment received is just as good really for networking as a compliment given, right? As long
Absolutely.
as it's given from a place of just being genuine, right? Not like just blowing
Yeah,
somebody's
absolutely.
ego up.
Yeah, if you see something that you like, why not speak about it and let them know? Because sometimes, as humans, we go through so many different phases of our life, and maybe I'm having a bad day, or I feel really down, or my self-esteem took a hit recently, and just being thinking about receiving a compliment during these times of trial, and tribulations and somebody uplifting me, it naturally gave me that desire to, you know what, I've been helped when I've been low. Why don't I, if I see something that I genuinely like about someone, why not give them their flowers now? There's this thing where you get people their flowers before they're dead. So why not? Especially men. I think mental health is important, and a lot of men they feel like it's not manly to compliment another man, and I think it's kind of ridiculous. But trying to get away from that notion and like, hey, I see you doing good things. I see so many positives in you, and I know you're struggling, but don't always focus on the negative. It's easy to fall into that and see the good things that you have in you. And these are the good things that I recognize. And a lot of times we don't see it ourselves, but when somebody else observing us sees them, it's nice to be reminded that, hey, you know what? I'm not doing too bad. I'm actually in a good path.
Yeah, Cam, any thoughts?
Yeah, I love his tip on giving compliments. Um, I tend to not give as many compliments as I should after listening to him speak, because I like to push people to be their best. And I could see the areas where they're not doing well, and I know if they could just shift in that area, it could make a really big difference in their lives. And what I found is that even though a person is struggling and they just need to make one shift, oftentimes they don't actually want to hear that. So it does help to start with a compliment first, where there is some sort of rapport and they're more easy to receive it. And what I've learned is to preface my feedback by saying, hey, you're doing well. I see that you're putting a lot of effort. I noticed that you are kind of struggling in this area, or I feel like there's something, if you make a small shift, it can really have a big result for you. Would you like to hear about it? Or the other option is I end up giving my own story. I'm like, man, I remember when I was where you're at, and I was putting in all this work, effort, but still struggling. And then I did this one thing that really made a big difference. And then I throw it out there like a seed. And if they hook on it, then we can take that conversation further into me letting them know that this might be an area that they could work on. But if they don't, or they don't see the value in it, then I just kind of step back.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And look, I want to throw some feedback out there. I know this is something both Austin and I do. When you're out there and you're networking and you're getting in front of people, the joy is the real thing to go after, right? That you got to touch somebody's real inner parts, their inner child, right? Like is what a lot of people call it, right? But if you can touch somebody with, and again, me and Austin kind of both do this, something extreme. Like he just recently went to a soccer game in a full unitard that was all USA. This is a couple years ago in Iran, right? And so the shock value of that, like he expected to get a hate when in reality, people thought it was great, right? Like they're taking pictures and having a good time with it and engaging with him, which is just in turn growing his network, right? I have an example where I wore a pair of overalls to a high class, blue suit and white shirt event, but it's because I had a working class pitch, right? Like I wanted to be their workhorse for them. And so I gave that example in a kind of shock value way where you wouldn't normally see something like that, right? And was able to engage with more people to do so while doing the same things you're talking about, Armando, complimenting them, making them feel special, right? Like showing that I'm really there thinking about what they're thinking about or how they're thinking without just coming out and saying, hey, I'm here to sell you and I want you to buy all my stuff, right? It's like,
Absolutely.
I'm trying to relate to you and get to you in a way that's fun and whimsical and that we can both have a good time with. And if you don't respond to that, well, you probably aren't my people anyway.
No, I like that. If you don't mind me seeing a few words here. Something that Cam said earlier that I really enjoyed is it's a long game. You don't have to try to earn people's business the day you
Yep.
meet them or the next day. And I think a lot of people are so quick to do that. And I like I like how genuine you are about the feedback and helping people. And obviously, balance is key. So obviously some positive reinforcement and then some feedback. So I do
Yeah.
like that. But back to what I was saying. It's a long game, right? As you're building relationship, because people don't want to work with the one with the most credentials. Quite frankly, let's be honest, they don't really care about our credentials. Who they want to work with is a human being, someone that they can relate to, someone that they can trust. So that trust factor is big. It's what made Oprah Winfrey so successful, right? She just connected with people, and people wanted to be around her, led her to all these success and shows. And something that I like to tell the audience, so it's a small tip. This is about small things, right? This episode here. Something that I do successfully, and we all have it in our hands, is our cell phones. If I meet someone that I have interest in connecting with this person, I see value. I could potentially help them with one of my services. Cam, you do the coaching, right? So what I do is I'll obviously save their phone number. I don't just let them save my number because they might not reach out to me. I want to
Yeah.
be intentional. I save their in contact. I'm sure you guys do it as well. And then on top of that, something simple again. I go to the edit the contact. There's a spot I believe for notes or something you can turn into notes, and I write something memorable about them. Maybe they said, "Hey, my daughter is successful in soccer. She's a star player in soccer in fifth grade." I'll make a note of that. And next time I run into them, hey, how's your daughter doing? Did they make the playoffs? Something that I can connect with them. And people, that goes a long way. It's still genuine. It's just obviously in my brain, I can't remember every single fact about everyone. It's just
Yeah.
impossible. I barely know my own name sometimes, to be honest. I'm just not good with names. But the point is, I take the effort and the time, and I feel like I can do it a little more, to be honest. It's taking notes of people that are significant or people that I will be in touch again and be able to connect with them before I try to pitch them a sale. And like I said, it's a long game. So I think I like that what you do, Cam,
Thank you very much. Yeah.
of course.
Cam, we had an audience question specifically for you that said, dominating, long time no see, Cam. What are the biggest obstacles to creating effective health networking platforms?
Health networking platforms? Is that what he said?
I guess what they're meaning is your own health network, right? Centered around health improvement.
Yeah. So this is a very good question. And I want to say that our health isn't just dependent on us and what we do, but actually the people that we allow into our lives. And if we have people in our lives, our friends, our family, who aren't healthy or aren't taking their health seriously, then it's going to affect us in more ways than we can imagine. And I'll just give one simple example. So if we're around unhealthy people and we're trying to maintain a more healthy lifestyle, like we want to eat better, we don't want to eat junk food, we want to go out to the gym and things of that nature, if everyone around us isn't in line, and let's say we want to go out to eat, everyone is going to say, hey, let's go to this burger joint or let's go there. And you're going to be the only one, that only voice that says, no, let's go eat someplace healthy. And of course, when it comes down to voting, you're going to be outnumbered. And it's these little things that add up over time that pull us out of our commitments. And what I've learned the hard way is that if you can control the people you allow into your life, the rest becomes easy. So whatever your goals are, whether it's financial or health, if you can cut out the people who aren't in line with where you're trying to go or are actually going in the opposite direction, and allow people in who are in line and are already steps ahead, it becomes so much easier because there's so much less resistance and that comes up and so much less willpower that you need to resist the temptations. In fact, one of my sisters has a joke. She says, Cam was ghosting people before ghosting was a thing. And it's true because I learned this on early on that if I just cut people out that aren't helping me, then it just becomes easier. And I have no problems cutting people out who are trying to pull me down or not helping me move in the direction that I want. So this is one of the best ways we can do that when it comes to building a network or building a community where we have a specific outcome in mind and wanting to get there as soon as possible and as effortlessly as possible.
Cam, I feel like I learned something every time you're on the show. And this show, I learned you got expert level Irish goodbye.
You got to, especially in this time right now, because we live in a world of so many options, and our options have options, and it's easy to get lost and get distracted. And one of the ways is by the people around us, because they all have their own intentions and desires, and they're wanting to pull us towards them. And if they're not healthy or in line with what we truly want or the direction we want to go, it can make it challenging.
Great.
Yeah, great advice. You know,
I call it loving the people from a distance.
Yes.
there you go. I think it's also important for this particular topic that we really visit a good daily challenge. So, you know, I want to challenge both of you guys here. What's something you think that somebody could spend 5 minutes on to increase their social health in networking?
All right, I'll just jump in because I got a great one that just popped up. I was actually at a networking event about 1.5 years ago. It was a pretty high profile event. And one guy on stage talked about how every morning he wakes up, he reaches out to 5 people to see how they're doing. And as Armando said, like what help he could offer. So every morning he wakes up, he reaches out to 5 people.
Nice.
I haven't got up to that level yet, but one of the things that's part of my morning routine is to connect with 5 people. And like I said, I don't always get to 5 people, but that goal is in mind. So I might get to 1 or 2. And if we just do that as a basic fundamental thing we do every day, it adds up, because 5 people one day, another 5 people another day, another 5 people within a few weeks, we're making a lot more connections and having a lot more conversations. And again, it's not about selling, it's just about throwing the conversation out there. And the connection happens just from the conversation. There doesn't have to be this intention of, hey, I'm trying to build a relationship. The intention only is throw out conversations, and that just snowballs into generating that connection relationship.
Nice.
Yeah. To add to that, I think your language on that when you reach out to somebody is really important too, because a lot of people just say, hey, good morning, right? Like, and that kind of leaves a flat tone of the conversation. I like to say, hey, I hope you're doing well. If there's anything I can help you with, let me know, right?
Yeah.
That leaves just a tinge more of a interaction than good morning, right? Or, I mean, some people have based it down to GM, right? You know, so again, I'm just saying you've got to engage to where somebody's going to engage with you too.
Yeah, it can't be a basic level dry interaction or outreach. It needs to feel warm. For example,
Yeah.
during the Christmas holiday, I find it to be the best way to reach out to people because everyone's expecting some sort of a reach out because it is the holidays, especially people you've lost touch with for months and even a year or 2. It's one of those moments where it just becomes okay to reconnect. And I won't just send them a 2-word Merry Christmas or Happy New Year. I would say something like, hey, Merry Christmas, hope you're enjoying the holidays and having a good start to the new year. And then I'll throw something else. So that's just so much more warmer than just saying Merry Christmas, because they're getting that from so many people and then they're not going to respond to that. They might be like, oh yeah, great, this person thought of me to send that message. But at the same time, they're thinking, since it's such a bland and generic message, how many people did he send that to? Was it a mass text and things of that nature? But when we can make
Right.
it more warm, then it does induce a response. Now, in terms of response, what I found is it always helps to ask a question too. So you could say, hey, how's it going? Was thinking about you. And then, what are you working on that you're most excited about? Or just something that where it requires a response back. And I find that helps to make the engagement a lot more fluid and easier.
So awesome. So much great value as always, Cam. Armando, really appreciate you being on today as well. I also want to thank our sponsors. This episode is sponsored by Sarah Mag Jones, who's an amazing financial coach. If you don't know, Lori Valesco, Brian K. Wright, and Brian Harana, all those people that are making this show possible. We do have sponsorship opportunities for those who would like to participate in that. And again, we just really appreciate everybody's feedback here today on the show. Thank you so much for a great episode in 2026 here of Millionaires Are Made.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.